Okay, it turns out this looks like a little bit like framey. Like it looks fine for me, but in the recording it pops up a little slow, a little weird, a little goofy. I don't know what I can do about that. Um, I was gonna do a more like edited version of this, but I'm just gonna try and do it live and see what I can point out. I also got this tool so I can like point to things, and hopefully that will help. Um, yeah, you just have to stick with me while I get used to it. Um, So I mean, just going into it very briefly, we talked about this, but I want to lay it out. The Robin game plan is he knows he's going to sit still. You're going to run at him. He's going to throw out a projectile and hit your running at him, and then he knows you want to jump over his projectile or shield it, and then he just wants to either meet your jump in the air and then hit you with his big strong sword, or he wants to catch your shield with one of his special grabs. Uh, how far he can actually like do that, depends on his execution and his timing and all the spacing and stuff. But that is like the plan he wants to go for, and it's a pretty good plan. I think, like I mentioned in the text, there's a lot of like adaptations that you do, and stuff that's maybe not as bad as you think. But yeah, let's get into it. Like you were talking to me, like you made it sound like he like styled on you the first doc, 0 to death, when really it's much simpler than that. It was just kind of some Robin BS. So just off rip, you are running at him, which is usually the case against zoners, right? You don't want them to be able to sit in the corner and just throw their projectiles. I can just here. Wait, I'm going to let me advance a few frames to get the go out of here. Go. It does catch us early. Is that he catches you with the thunder, which I mean, it's just like a laser. Whatever. It's a little annoying, but what are you gonna do? And then I want the go out of here so I can have a full screen to work with. There we go. So yeah, I mean, typically when we're talking about zoners and he's sitting here under center platform, you're basically under platform. This is like where he wants to be, and he just wants to like throw shit at you, and you don't want to just let him have that. However, I think with Robin, it's much more reasonable to like just sit over here and shield his moves because of the durability on the book, which I've actually had to look up for the first time today. Basically, they all have about 20 durability each bar, and so like basic Thunder, he has 20 of them. L Thunder, he can do about 6 or 7 before he gets to that 20. Arc Thunder, he can only do 4. Thoron, he can do 3, maybe 4. I'm not sure if you can cast it without all the durability you need, but Arc Fire, he only gets about 6 of. Elwind, he gets about, because it takes 2 per wind blade, and there's always the 2 wind blades, so that's 4 per up special, which means he only gets to recover 5 times. So like everything is, he can use it less than 10 times, usually 5 or less. So like, if we keep that in mind, we can kind of stall him out of some of his resources. But at the end of the day, running into his owner is usually not the worst idea. And then yeah, you adapt to the second laser, you shield, and then better yet, you run up and you shield again. It looks like this is one of these moments where it's like the small things you're doing that you don't even realize, your hands, and then it's hard to give yourself credit for that because you don't even think about it. But like this is you already catching on to the timing after 2 thunders, and you run up and shield, and you're ready for a 3rd thunder. But instead, he charges a little and then shields. And again, maybe this is a little bit of hands, but I'm gonna let this play out in real time real quick, so we aren't getting too bogged down in frame by frame. But like to recap, right? He throws a thunder, you get hit. You shield the next one, and then you've caught the timing, you run up and shield to get ready for a 3rd one, and then after realizing that you haven't been hit, you go for a buffered forward out of shield. And it was like perfectly spaced too. So you get by 1, you shield the 2nd, you get ready to shield the 3rd, and then yeah. Perfect spacing forward air out of shield. I actually wanted to... This is why I wanted to do an edited version, because I feel like I'm going to get really long and rambly, and that was not the goal, but we'll see what happens. So yeah, you realize he's charging and not actually hitting you, and you go for this buffered forward air, which is the thing you've talked about wanting to do more. And like that is pretty much perfect spacing. Obviously, it's not like the perfect timing in terms of like landing and canceling all the lag or whatever, but as far as the buffered forward out of shield goes, like that's pretty much perfect, right? And then from there, you'll notice this is also, yeah, this is you drifting back, which is making even better use off your spacing. But keep in mind here, I want to see if this comes back later. The first thing he does is he dashes back after dropping shield, because oh, that's some tearing. He dashes back and throws another projectile. Because I wonder if it's because we're fucking frame by frame and it's getting mad at us. But he runs back because he uh, doesn't want you that close to him. He wants a little room to throw his projectiles. He's a little scared. And so if you can keep him in the corner like that and still keep avoiding all his projectiles, that is like kind of the ideal. Instead, you kind of get caught by this. This is, you know, it's pretty easy to get caught by because it looks, in your mind, it's like, the problem is that there's not a frame back. There's only frame forward. So I can do that and go like 10 seconds back. But that's all I've got. I just want to visualize here of, yeah, so like it's pretty easy if you're not thinking about it to feel like in your subconscious that like, oh, I'm over this projectile, I'm good, and not thinking about the fact that it lands and it shoots up and catches you. And right here, this is literally your stock, because he gets the true follow-up off it, and then he catches your check option, which he like waits for. He was doing that on reaction. Like that, it looked like you rolled away there. He was catching that. If you rolled in, he was still catching that. Neutral get up, he's catching that. Like, this is pretty much just true. And then from here, this is the rest of your stock. Is you neutral get up into the fire, and it's easy to look like you dodged it because he grabbed you so quick, but it does look like you get hit for a second before he grabs you. So you neutral get up into fire, and he gets a follow up off it, and he throws you away, thunders, whatever, and then you neutral get up into the fire again, and he hits you with Levin Sword. And then this time you don't neutral get up because you're not sure what to do, and it hits your hang, and you just die. That's your stock. So he didn't style on you. You got hit by one arc fire, and then you got ledge trapped 3 times because you weren't sure how to deal with arc fire. Which, if it helps, insane move to deal with. I was like trying to come up with a thing to like help you with it and be like, okay, you want to roll, but you want to be careful because he's looking out for roll or whatever. But I posted on Twitter. I'm actually going to pull up actual Twitter. So I have my tweet deck over here, but this is way less easy to read. I tweeted, like, I don't have enough experience with Robin, but I'm trying to help Plato with VOD review. What ledge options does Arcfire cover? And Mumon responded. And, they carpool, so I trust him. He said, every get-up option will hit most characters. I usually hang at ledge, take the chip damage, and then recover back until Robin runs out of fires. And then there is a perfect pixel spot where the fire lands on stage and then slides off and hits your ledge hang anyways. So, like, there just is no great answer to it. What he recommended, it basically sounds like what he is saying to do is, so like, there's the get up, and then this next one, he literally recommends hanging here, and then, yeah, I don't know, he's making it sound like he can hang there and then like get hit by it and then drop down and then get hit over and over. I don't know how, that doesn't seem like it would work. Considering that you hang and it popped you up and you just died. So, yeah, I literally have no idea. I think it depends on the spacing. There's probably some times where hanging doesn't hit you if he doesn't space it right, and you can hang around that. But right there, you just kind of got absolutely fucked for it. So, like, literally, I don't even know what you were supposed to do there. And apparently, the thing Mumon suggested wouldn't have worked either, because that's literally what you did. So, insane move to deal with. Being on ledge versus Robin is tough. I would lean on jumping and rolling. Rolling is scary because that's probably what he's expecting you to do, kind of like how he's expecting you to jump over his projectiles. And jumping similar for a similar reason, plus it might still hit you, just because of how active of a hitbox it is. Get up attack maybe works. Maybe you can like trade if he's trying to punish off it. It's hard to say. That's something that you would maybe take into training mode and try and figure out, but I think there's so much variance on where he's standing and where he spaces. Because it's not, most of the time, it's not like he is standing in the same spot throwing it over and over again. It's he throws it, and then he hopes that it hits you, and he like runs up and he does something off the hit. And so he's readjusting his spacing every time. So the arc fire is going to be at a slightly different part of ledge every time. Like, one time it might be here, and it like hits that pixel perfect, falls off and hits you. Sometimes it might be here, and it like covers your neutral get up, but it like just barely clips you if you're hanging on ledge. And like, I guess like reacting to that in real time, or experimenting with it, which also makes it really difficult to lab. Admittedly, we are 10 minutes in, and we have done one stock of, 6, but, a little more than that because there's some that you take from him. And this is all that I have watched and actually taken notes on, so from here it's live reaction. So, from here, you're effectively keeping him in the corner, right? But, you land on the whatever the cross one is called. What's the cross one? Does it tell me which one's the cross one? Beep boop, beep boop, beep boop. Arc Thunder. That one is Arc Thunder. That it is now pointing both of his neutral interactions that he's like won on you has been because you are jumping and you land on the projectile, which isn't even the kind of jumping that he's usually trying to punish, right? It's usually like he's waiting for you to jump over his projectile so he can hit you with the sword. But this is just like he's catching your landings with it. And then, yeah, I mean, true combo off it. There you go. He missed his first arc fire. You were able to get up in the time between. Very smart of you to shield. You're aware that this arc fire is scary. It is worth noting that you chose neutral get up there at all. There's a chance that you saw that it missed and you felt safe, but there's also a chance that you were still doing the autopilot neutral get up that, you know, destroyed your last stock. So worth being conscious of that probably. And then, yeah, laser into that. The laser is much more like a pill than it is like Falco laser, in the sense that he uses it to like start an opening. It's not like I will laser to like slow you down and confuse you and then run up and grab or something, but it's not like I laser you and then you aren't hit stun long enough for me to come do that, compared to something like pill where it's like, yeah, you're in hit stun long enough that I come up and up air or whatever. It's more like pill where he does it and then it's a true follow-up, it seems like. But here you are again. You're very carefully, smartly trying to get out of the corner. You do like a run-up shield, and then you do a run-up and attack. I think that's a very smart way of dealing with it. It's good to do that. I'm going to take this a little slower, frame by frame. So you roll past it. And from what I've read, rolling is a very good way to deal with arc fire. It seems like maybe even like on reaction to the audio cue of him yelling it, you can just like roll past it a lot of the time, is what people were saying. But obviously that's always going to be dependent on where you guys are spaced. Catches you with that. Like we said, yep, he pills, and then you're gonna jump on stage, and look right there, he side B's again, and there's not one left because, like we talked about, arc fire has it takes up 3.3, and that means that out of the 20 durability that all of the tomes have, you do 20 divided by 3.3. He only gets 6 of them. He used 1 to catch your landing at the very start. And then there were 3 in the first ledge trap, and then there was 2 on this ledge trap, and now he's out. You run in and shield, ready for another like laser or arc fire or something. Shoot, I'm gonna let this play for a sec because I want to go back again. Okay, this is fine, I guess. So yeah, there's number 2, and then he goes for it here. I want to totally catch your options here. So you run up and you shield. He jumps away, which is worth noting. He's trying to get out of there without arc fire. That is his favorite tool, right? Because Thunder is decent. It's fast, but it's not necessarily super spammable. And if it whiffs, I think it's pretty easy to punish him. Arc fire is his big one, because the other projectiles all take charge time. And so without arc fire, he's just trying to like get away for a second. So you run up and you shield. You'll notice he goes for an aerial here to try and cover his landing. God damn it. Okay. You go for a forward air that misses. He's crouching, but I don't think he low profiled. I think you're just a little short. And then you keep drifting in. If you had drifted away here, it would have been fine. God, that screen tearing is really annoying. You do cross up, actually, which maybe that is like what you were going for drifting in which case, pretty nice. Good taking a center stage. He's going for aerials and drifting back out. Like you'll notice here, he's no longer going for his projectiles as much because he's scared. He doesn't have arc fire. He's going to dash back, and then you guys meet here. You run up and shield. He's dashing back again. He's not engaging on you. He's not feeling super confident without arc fire. He's constantly trying to make space. The same way you especially, this is the thing that you notice way better than me, is when somebody is like trying to force their way to center stage. Which is funny because I like showed you the video of somebody pointing that out, and now like you internalize that really well. Like a lot of the time zoners will be the opposite, where they are running to the corner and trying to take corner, specifically just because not because they like the corner specifically, just because they are trying to create space between you two, which you can't like assert dominance and take center stage while also trying to like force there to be a big gap. And so from there you jump back. Just taking your time. This looks like it's about to be another perfectly spaced forward air. He tilts his shield up, which is very smart of him. Yep, there's that more perfect spacing. And this time it looks like you even have that much better timing in terms of covering the landing lag. You go for it again. Spacing's a little worse, but I think you're still fine here. He rolls in under you, which is a thing we've kind of talked about gets you. Still, though, no punish by him. You go for the down air, and it misses. I respect that, though. I like how that down tilt would have covered, and you were, trying to cover your landing. And cover him dashing either way. It's not a bad option, it just whiffed. And now you're able to grab him. And so, like, yeah, that entire stock, or, like, last 20, 30 seconds, like, so let's see. Like, right here, he gets the arc fire. He gets the follow-up. There's 40%. You get up. He's going to laser you and then, like, dash attack or whatever. And now you're at 53. And now he runs out of arc fire. Without arc fire, he just doesn't touch you for a while. Now, what makes Dark Adept a good player is because he's really good at abusing that zoner plan. He's, like, really internalized it, and, like, the whole, I know you're going to jump over my projectile, so I'm just going to try and hit you while you're jumping kind of thing. Without the projectile here, he becomes, like, a pretty average level player, it seems like. He's, like, running back and forth kind of aimlessly. He's, like, whiffing a lot of aerials. He doesn't seem to have a great plan other than, like, stall time, don't get hit. And so you're able to find an opening. You grab, you whiff the follow-up, but, again, you're still keeping him away. And now here, as soon as Arcfire comes back, he's able to just chuck it out. He's back in his comfort place. He hits you with it. And so, what is the, like, let's think about that. What's the takeaway? When he doesn't have Arcfire, he's way more nervous. He can still play, like, full stage and throw thunders and stuff, but if we look at ultimate frame data, how laggy is Thunder? Because is it a thing like laser, where even if he hits you with it too close, Thunder. So it is minus 13 on shield, right? And so, like, pretty laggy if you shield it. And so he's like afraid to spam that up close. Like, you treat that like you treat laser. And so, without time to charge and not wanting to just like chuck out lasers, with no arc fire, he is just another sortie. And so if you think about that you're like way more comfortable with it. But again, he gets this here once arc fire comes back. So it's like worth taking a second and noting that even if that interaction, right, you were also like running around and whiffing and you only got 20% on him and like one opening, whatever. It's like worth stopping and thinking, when he doesn't have arc fire, I can deal with him. He's just a normal sortie. And so that just leaves when he does have arc fire, what do we need to do? It's also, I meant to say this much earlier, but this is not meant to be like it is good to think these things in the moment. I'm not saying that like I'm expecting you to have thought of it in the moment. This is purely a if you were to play him again, what are the things that you can take away that you learned from this set in post review, like we're doing here? So like if you play him again, it's like, okay, I just have to wait for him to run out of arc fires, which is only 6. And if he like kind of spams it, like if we go back here, again, like well spaced fares, he whiffs, you get the grab, miss the follow up because it's too early, find the jet, like all that. He is arc firing when you are like extremely close, because it's an incredibly good move. It is plus 13 on shield. Like if it hits your shield, any follow up you want. If it hits you, any follow up you want. It has this much range. It's like there's no reason not to spam it in terms of the reward. The only reason not to spam it is because you have a limited durability. And so like that's why, going back to the very start, I think it's worth considering camping him out, because all he can really do is spam his thunders, which he's going to burn through that. And then Arcfire, like, it has a lot of good range, but it's not hitting full stage. It's hitting from, like, maybe here to, like, center. It hits, like, maybe a third of stage. And so if you just keep your distance, and then, he's going to have to burn all of his resources or approach you. And if he's approaching you, like, you can deal with that better. Typically, if he's approaching you, he's probably going to jump Arcfire, where you can run under him and deal with him like that. But, so yeah, he gets a follow-up off it. Nothing huge this time, because you're higher percent. Good parry, good punish. Again, he just arc fire out of the corner. It's very fast, a very good move. And then, yeah, it catches your ledge option. And technically, right, it hit you there because you didn't snap to ledge, you went over. But even then, it's worth thinking about, again, how good that is on ledge and trying to ledge get up on it. Everything here has just been him getting rewards off of arc fire. And then when he doesn't have arc fire, it is arc fire, 95%, and then like 5%, there's one or two laser follow-ups. Ooh, this is an interesting development. Hold on. Shelter has just responded to my tweet saying, can I see the VOD? Which is nice, but I haven't finished rendering it. I'm just looking at the entire VOD. and I have your 20 minutes out of 2.5 hours here. So, oh, hold on, load it. I got the notification on my phone, but I'm waiting for it to come in on the computer here. Refresh. Hold. Okay, well, it's not popping up. There it is. Never mind, I'm fucking stupid. Forgot we just streamed it yesterday. So, I don't know. Maybe he's looking at that and looking to, like, help you with some stuff. Or maybe he's just, like, I don't know. We'll see. But, yeah, so you're basically just getting punished off Arcfire here. I'm sure there's stuff that you could do in terms of, like, DIing better or hitting text that would make the punishes less severe. But for the most part, the problem is always going to be you're getting hit by the Arcfires. From what I can tell, it looks like on the wiki, the tomes do not, like, their durability does not replenish. It's just like you use it and it's gone, and then after X amount of time it comes back. For Arcfire, it is 10 seconds, and then if he kills you, it subtracts a second. The sword is different. It looks like the sword, the durability does restore, but, like, whatever. We don't care about the sword nearly as much. But yeah, so this is worth noting, like, even if he is 3 stocks to 1, he's only at 40%. It is just Arcfire. Like, if you can start thinking about how to deal with Arcfire, that is, like, the thing to keep an eye on. You take away Arcfire, and this is, like, a whatever match, where you are typically beating him in neutral when he isn't using Arcfire. You are doing a very good job, like, spacing your aerials, like, coming in at just the right distance, hitting cross-ups when, you know, that is an option. You know, there's a mix-up there. Like, you are playing that part really well. It is exclusively you not being able to deal with Arcfire, which is fair. Arcfire is a really good move. That's not like you can't deal with Arcfire. You should kind of figure that out. Like it's not the way that I would talk about, like, Bowser side B, right? Where it's like, yeah, you just kind of have to know that that's there, and then once you're looking out for it, it's whatever. It's like, this is like, no. Like, Arcfire is, like, a really good move. And like, part of it is, sure, maybe that matchup unfamiliarity, you're kind of getting hit with it when you're not realizing how crazy it is. But part of it is just, like, this is a really good move. And then he goes for the edge guard here. Doesn't matter because you're early percent. And again, another Arcfire. He goes for the ladder. Again, you run up, shield, and then, you know, grab. He's just jumping a little weird. You're doing a fine job catching him in neutral. It is just this Arcfire. That's a little goofy. You got hit by the do it twice. I don't know. Oh, yeah, okay, never mind. Because keep in mind, right, how many times have we talked about you ran up shield? This is him expecting you to run up shield when he starts going for the Nosferatu or whatever it's called. Yep. And then, you know, you don't even get to the shield part, you just run up into it. And so that's like, you know, that's our first new neutral thing we should keep in mind, is that, like, that's mostly spacing dependent, right? So maybe when you run up shield, you aren't doing it at grab distance, you're doing it at forward air out of shield distance. Because if we go back forward in my tabs, let's try and look at that hitbox. We have his normal grab should be down here somewhere. Yeah, it's like kind of weak, right? Like that's pretty all right, but you can your forward air is definitely stronger. And then down B, this is definitely much bigger, especially because he leans forward. But again, I think there's a good chance that, you know, forward air on shield, drift back, you can be safe from that. And so you just run up and shield from further away. But again, you get some good follow-ups. And up you out of shield. This is totally fine. It's totally fine when he's, like, far away to get hit by Arcfire just a little bit. I think he's out of Arcfire. I think I saw that book drop. And now look, again, like, this is the kind of adaptation I mean, is that, you know, you are getting more used to the rhythm, and you are winning more of these, like, small neutral exchanges when he's not throwing Arcfire. You are able to, like, find hits a bit more regularly and get, like, a nice 2-3 hit follow-up like Lucina does. Like, there was a minute ago here when you hit, like, forward air into forward air, tech chase on platform or something. Let me find that. And that's kind of like hands, I feel like that. Like, I don't think you were, like, very thoughtfully like, oh, I landed one forward air, I should do another forward air now. You're just like, I forward air, okay, he's still this close, I'm going to forward air again, because he's on the platform, like, whatever. Like, you're not thinking about it too hard. You're just able to, like, you know, do your follow-up, and it's totally normal. Yep, that's very nice. That, I will say, that is the upside of shielding close to him, is that, you know, the downside is that he can Nosferatu you. The upside is if he Arcfires, you can punish without being out of shield. And you know, it gimps you a little bit, it hits you, but it's not enough that you are not also hitting him and then back an advantage. Yep, the ledge trap was a little bit scuffed, you were a little too far, but you found it. And then, yeah, like, look at you. You are winning these small things. You're parrying, you're getting your back air out of shield totally fine. You're getting your ledge trap pretty fine. On reaction, too. Yeah, again, parry, F-tilt. Like, when he is in disadvantage, you are, like, playing totally fine. He is not bodying you here. It is just that arc fire. Which is something I maybe didn't realize as much. Like, there, he kind of, like, schmixed you with a landing. Let's actually go back to that. Let's try and look a little closer. He jumps from ledge, which is the one option that he hadn't done yet, and that you always have a little bit harder time covering. He tries to land with down air, but you aren't trying to juggle him like that. You catch him there. I wonder... Part of the reason I think that down air to cover his landing doesn't work is because you're so used to me doing that you're like, yeah, I'm just going to wait. I'm going to wait for an attack and then cover you close to the ground. That in between you not loving up air as a move, so you'd rather rely on up tilt close to the ground here. So this is... I would... I'm just trying to look at how you treat this. Yeah, again, this is, the same thing as last time. You were waiting for him to get close to the ground, but he's being very tricky with his B reverse charges and then uncharge and then, like, that kind of stuff. And then, he's been charging, you're trying to run up in it. Ooh, I think if you actually committed, you could have caught him, but you stop here. I don't know if you think he's going to ledge or what, but for some reason your sword doesn't stuff that out. I feel like it definitely should have, but yeah. He's just being tricky with his movement and then waited till he saw an opening. And then I think it was riskier than he would have actually felt like it was. I think he was like, yeah, this feels very safe, but I think if you hadn't stopped it, maybe it wasn't. So it's like a very small thing. That's not one of those like big gameplay things to note where it's like, oh, when he's landing, I shouldn't stop. Like, that's a weird situational thing. I think the bigger takeaway is that he can be very tricky with his landing, and I think you're being very smart to wait till he's close to the ground where he doesn't have that much, wiggle room where he can actually escape. Because, like, if you... Okay. Ignore what's actually happening, right? Imagine you are here on stage, and he is, like, way up here in the sky. He can do that, like, B reverse this way, and then B reverse again to go that way, and then air dodge to go this way. But, like, at the end of the day, by the time he's right here, you can just run up right here, and there's not much more he can do, right? But if you try and jump up while he's still up here, then he does the drift, and you get, screwed, and then you don't land in time. So... what I'm saying is I think you're very smart to not try and juggle him in the air with up air and just like wait till he gets to the ground and punish his landing. I think that's it's smart to deal with landings in general. I think it's smart with how tricky Robin is showing that he can be in the air, and I think it's smart with your own perception of your character and your moveset, where you do not love using stuff like up air. You think it's kind of a weird bad move in a way. Maybe not bad, but like you don't love it the same way you love something like up tilt. And yeah, I think that just works out way better for you. And then there's another neutral getup into the arc fire, which again, neutral getup is 100% not the option. That will hit you every time, but it's hard to find a thing to replace it with. I just don't think you're trying to neutral getup because you want to neutral getup shields right away, and that is like the fastest option. I think that's usually the reason I go to neutral getup, is that like it feels the fastest and it feels like you can get back on your feet and start doing normal stage options the quickest. And so it's like an easy thing to default to when, being a little more thoughtful about your ledge is would really benefit you here. Ooh, yeah, he just based that really nice. So your up B didn't hit. And then, yeah, a whiffed counter. Which I think that whiffed counter is actually really interesting from like a psychological perspective, because... Let me watch this 20 seconds or so to be sure. I'm going to be quiet for a sec. Oh wait, this is still the ledge dropping. I went way further back than I meant to, but that's okay. And then the whiff counter is here. Yeah. So the reason I think the whiff counter is really interesting psychologically is because in your mind, it is similar to like you're getting Falco comboed, right? Where it's just like he's constantly hitting you, and maybe you only felt this way like after the set and you felt like you kind of got rolled. But assuming the way you talked about this set after is the same way you were feeling during, you feel like you're like getting rolled, you feel like you're getting hit constantly, you feel like you can't do anything. And so you're like, okay, I'm going to go for a counter because he's constantly hitting me. When the reality is, the only time... like, he has not caught your landing with a hitbox once. He has landed with his own hitbox the one time. But for the most part, like, that has not been how he's dealt with your landings. And so I think the counter comes out because you feel so pressured, when in reality that's like not the thing that's happening, nor are you even getting rolled that hard. I keep trying to force it in, is that like you're pretty much just getting hit by arc fire, whether that be in neutral and he like mashes it out of the corner, or whether that be on ledge. That is all that's happening. And so this is not like a, again, it's not like a learnable moment to be like, oh, I shouldn't land with counter, because like maybe that's true, but that's not the point. The point is that like you feel like you're getting hit a lot more and ran over a lot more than you actually are. And so it's worth keeping in mind mid-set, like, what is the stuff that's hitting me? What are the moves that are starting the combos, right? What do I need to keep an eye out and avoid? And then like Aizawa mentions it in the mentality video, the like positive mindset is rewarding you for what you do good and punishing you, or bad mindset is like punishing you way too hard for what you're doing bad and not paying attention to any of the stuff that you're doing good. Negative mindset we can sometimes simplify and be like, oh, it's just like when you're tilted or when you're mad. But it's also like you can be like totally sound mind, but just like feel helpless and be like, well, I'm not doing anything good and he's just kind of rolling me, and so I don't know, maybe I'll try a counter because it feels like I'm always getting hit, and whatever. When really it's like, okay, well, he's not really catching my landings. He's mostly just spamming arc fire in projectiles. But I don't know. I think I'm reading way too deep into it. But yeah, the takeaway from that first game is literally just arc fire. And then when he doesn't have arc fire, you can play neutral, or not even when he doesn't have arc fire, when he doesn't have like the space to safely start throwing projectiles. But also that space is much smaller than you would think, because he throws it out of the corner a lot. Again, hey, look at that small adaptation. You dropped off and shielded the first thunder. He caught you with the second one, but that's beside the point. And there you go. You're learning to deal with arc fire. This is the kind of adaptation I was talking about that I guarantee you are not giving yourself credit for. You are not thinking about the fact that like, oh yeah, I did start playing around arc fire and jumping and realizing that is his go-to option out of the corner. I'm going to watch that again in frame by frame. So you do get hit with that. That's good. That is a timing mix-up, right? That was the first time he didn't just like press it to go, but that's fine. So here, you are thinking about running in, but then you see that, and so I think you were already jumping, and then it clicks that is coming out, and you double jump over to fade back instead of landing on it, which is how the first deck started, right? You jumped, and then you landed on it thinking you were safe, but this time you've learned, and you back the fuck up. And now, yeah, a run-up shield, and look, when you are up close to him like that, oh my god, it goes so far back. When you're up close to him, he has to start panicking. He goes for down tilt, which I've never seen a Robin go for. He goes for thunder on your shield, which is, we checked, it's like minus 13 or something. He just has to start like panicking when you're too close. Because like, it looks like he's spamming arc fire out of the corner, but if you're like here, wait, I've pen. If you are here in center stage and he's here on your platform, you probably can't run in fast enough for him to not just like arc fire on you. And so like, even if it's hitting super close and weird, it's because you started a long way when he started it. When you are already this close, he does not feel safe enough to press it, right? Yeah, he spot dodges, and then he goes for down tilt into thunder on your shield into dash back arc fire again. He constantly is dashing back to do the arc fire when he's up close like this, because he knows that is his best tool, and he's trying to get out with it. He gets the follow up off it, and then that one was a little weird, right? That was not strictly a follow up. That like back air or whatever. Let me see that again. So that's all follow up. But this, you've landed, and he's going for back air. Yeah, I think he's like kind of waiting to see what you do. And again, I think this side B is kind of similar to that counter where you are just like trying to, you're panicking and throwing out a hitbox to just like try and stop his approach. But really, that's not what he's doing. And ultimately, he's a sortie, so that's not gonna really matter. And this is like a fairly common thing. Like, this is what I was doing against like Captain Falcon by game 3. Is that like you're just throwing out moves to like try and find the opening because you're playing really stressed. You run up and shield on each other. He rolls behind you. What do you bet he arc fires? Dash back. Charges instead. You are being very patient. You are standing here. You were doing like walking, turning around. You were just trying to keep him in corner pressure, and then you get caught with that. I feel like that down tilt is you kind of like experimenting with what arc fire is weak to. I'm gonna go back a minute because I feel like I got a little lost here. So yeah, there's this follow up. He hits you with that. I don't know why he did that. Oh, because he wants the book. He was burning Nosferatu so he'd have this book. Why does he want it so bad? He's fishing for something, surely. I mean, you double lasers, and you know, you've shown that you can deal with it before, but I think, again, you're starting to kind of panic. He arc fires, and you try down tilting it. He arc fires again. You know, that is the main thing he knows how to do. It looks like he ran up and Z-dropped the book on you. Now he's just kind of like doing swordy stuff in the corner. Yep, you're dealing with this pretty much fine. Maybe not optimal, but like totally fine. I want to get that across, is that for me, with myself, that I'm also extending to you, when I'm VOD reviewing, I'm not trying to figure out like what the optimal play is and why I'm not doing the optimal play. It's like, what is the thing that I'm missing that I need to improve on that is like super attainable and I can just do. And so if it's like dealing with arc fire, right? It's not like I'm going to be like, well, you know, you went for nair here when you should have gone for fair. If that is like not why you're losing. It's not like if you went for the fair, the game's totally different compared to like if you found the option to deal with arc fire at ledge, like I think this is a totally different set. Maybe still losing, maybe still a 2-0, maybe still, you know, 3-stock, whatever. But like it's a super different set because you learn how to deal with his best option. Parry arc fire up close, it was a pretty nice option. Especially because that's not one he can really charge. Yeah, you got a little too in the sauce there. Didn't really space right, and then fell into that. That might be a thing that you kind of had to do as Lucina. But here you are. You've got him a little combo. Good holding shield there. It's a little scary because it kind of ran up and grabbed, but you held strong, and it was totally fine. You caught the book. You throw the book. That's totally normal. And then another arc fire follow-up, but he's not really getting it either. I want to, you know... Dark Adept is a really good player. He's top 10 for a reason. He's had a lot of really good upsets. You know, he's beat like Mumon and stuff. At the end of the day, he is not like crazy far above you or like an unbeatable like crazy guy. It's not like you're playing like Tweak or Leia or like some top 5 player. Like this is a dude with very noticeable habits and flaws that if you can figure out and tap into, that you know you can deal with. You know, if he's you know spamming arc fire a bit and now he's like fishing for combos, it's like, okay, well, I'm gonna deal with arc fire. And then when we play neutral, it goes like fairly even, right? Sometimes you know you guys are both just whiffing on each other. Sometimes you're getting good follow up. Sometimes he's you know lining up a back air or whatever. But like that is a much more normal match where you guys look like relatively on even footing. Maybe he's still winning, right? But it's not like a double 3-stock or whatever. Like it is very attainable if you can figure out this one problem to deal with him. That is his main thing that's getting him far. There he's choosing to cover your getup. I assume the reason you go for a thunder option there is A, to save your arc fire, B, because you don't think arc fire will get there in time to punish the ledge, or C, to just generally mix it up so that you aren't getting as much. Every time that you are dealing with arc fire on ledge, ideally you're getting a little bit of info on how to deal with it. And so if you're Dark Adept, you're used to like mixing that up to minimize how often they're getting to learn about how to deal with that. Just a recovery by him to skip ledge trapping, kind of smart. Good shield, good spacing, good catch. Again, you see he's trying to spam that arc fire, spams it all the way to the ground. I think that was probably a misinput, but regardless. Again, there you go. You caught his approach. When he tries to approach with shield, you are able, or with his own sword. That's just an unfortunate. You know, we'll rewind a little bit on that, but. Let's see, we gotta wait a minute. Yeah, he throws this. You jump over it after it killed you last time. Smart. Then you air dodge, but unfortunately you were already fast falling. Yeah, just it's not quite an SD, right? Like, he forced you to air dodge, he forced you to jump, whatever. But it is like a little goofy, a little, like, you were caught off guard, you know. A bit annoying, a bit, I don't know how to word it. Because it's not like it's a cheese kill, it's not like it's an SD, but it does feel like, okay, well, that's a little annoying. Because, like, you know, you could have, like, air dodged in and hit ledge. Or, like, maybe you thought that you were going to snap ledge still. Maybe you didn't realize you were fast falling. It's, like, those kind of small, stupid things that end up killing you like that. But, whatever. You're still able to do fine. Yeah, look at that. You trade hit. He already had that charged, but most of the time, you aren't giving him the time to charge that. Now you're going to... Ooh. Yeah, that was smart by him to land with the arc fire. Again, it all comes back to that arc fire. The arc fire is the big thing. Now he's juggling you. You air dodge and land right on top of him, which is... You probably thought he was going to try and cover somewhere, but it's just unfortunate. Yeah, it definitely looks like you are starting to panic a little, but even then, like, you are able to do like some pretty nice follow-ups, but play some nice neutral when it isn't down to that arc fire. Again, there you go. You jumped high to get around the projectile that you figured was coming out. And then sit here and shield. You were able to catch him with the side B that time, but it still wasn't the best option, really. And then, yeah, he just throws that down, and nothing you could have done about that. So, yeah. Like, there's a lot of smaller things that you could point out here, right? You could break down every interaction and be like, okay, you're doing a lot of side Bs to, like, try and cover approaches when that's really more like a punish tool. You know, you could use F-tilt, or even just, like, you know, do one hit of side B to see if you catch, like, stuff like that. But, like, again, I think the really big thing is just that arc fire. It is, like, 80 to 90% of his openings on you are just, like, spamming arc fire out of the corner. And, like, I don't mean to take this away from DarkAdept at all. I think DarkAdept is a very good player. He's beaten me. I think we had a pretty close set, but, like, he beat me, you know? It's not like I'm being like, oh, this is so simple. You just figure it out and you win. Like, I'm sure I either missed it in the moment, or if I did notice arc fire in the moment, I had my own hard time dealing with it. It's been a long time since that set. I don't remember. But, like, DarkAdept is clearly a good player. You're not bad for, you know, getting I guess 5-stocked by a top 10 player who's beaten, you know, Muon. But that arc fire is like the big thing, where once you can start playing around it, things really change. I would, you know, try and look up other Lucina Robin VODs. I would take it into training mode and just, like, have a CPU spam it and see if you can, you know, like, you were trying in game, like, to down tilt it, and it's like, that might not be a bad idea. I think there was one where you, like, forward aired and, like, mid air when it was still not hitting the ground yet, and you just, like, dealt with it. Because at the end of the day, right, he only gets 6 of them, and then a whole 10 seconds to respawn. If you can deal with 6 of them, then, like, you can play a much more even looking game. I still think there's, like, enough other small differences where you might still lose that, right? It's not like it's a free win. You guys are going, like, even, maybe leaning to him in neutral. He's still able to hit you with some thunder stuff here and there. But, like, it would be a much closer set if you can deal with arc fire. So I think arc fire is, like, the big thing to focus on. Because either you drain all 6 of them, or he starts realizing that you can deal with it, and he, you know, starts playing as if it's not there. And he you know, approaches you in a normal, like, sword neutral way that you can deal with a little better. So yeah, I would, at the very least, right, by watching this, you've internalized and been like, oh, shit, okay, arc fire is really good. 42 minutes, that's not bad. You've been able to internalize and be like, okay, arc fire is really good. Next time I play against DarkAdept or any other Robin, I should look out for arc fire. But, you know, if you want to go a little deeper, you can take that. I know you are a training mode fan, or training mode mod pack fan, I should say. I know you sometimes appreciate watching other VODs. I do believe one of the better US Robins is Jewel Robin Smash Wiki, who, if I'm correct, is from Tri-State, right? Yeah, he's from New York, so there's probably plenty of VODs of him versus Mr. E. Jewel, Mr. E. Yeah, so there's a lot of sets that you can look and see how they do. So we're getting off the point at this point. We're kind of rambling, kind of exploring, having some fun in the space. But we're gonna look up Jewel. Jewel hasn't played in a while. I wonder if he retired over quarantine. Or I should clarify, I haven't seen Jewel in a while. All these VODs are from 2020. Yeah, maybe he's retired or something. But he, like, damn, yeah, he hasn't played since March 3rd of 2020, and it was offline. So he never engaged any Wi-Fi, and then just hasn't come back. That's crazy. Mr. E, they are 4 and 6 in sets. So it's like usually Mr. E wins. But sometimes Jewel can take some games. So, yeah, I mean, we're so off topic here. But, yeah, arc fire is a big one to deal with. Projectiles in general also would help. Maybe you reach out to Shelter or Mumon, because they clearly have played against us a lot more. Or even Celestic Rose, right? Sorry, I got caught up there because I thought it was silly. Because saying the whole Celestic Rose, it's like, that's not... It's one of those tags that isn't a name the same way something like Mumon or Shelter is, where it just rolls off the tongue. And so I got caught up thinking for a second if there's a way that I'm supposed to be abbreviating that to make it sound more normal. And I was like, I don't know her. I'm not going to assume what she prefers to be referred to as in terms of, like... I'm so sidetracked out of my fucking mind. You could probably talk to her because she is closer to your level and plays characters more similar to yours. And so... I would assume that she, you know, loses to DarkAdept in friendlies, but she probably has a lot more experience and, you know, has thought about it and talked about this matchup more. And so she might have stuff that is more directly relevant to your experience. I'm sure you tried to talk to DarkAdept about it. I forget if you've said DarkAdept is one of the people who can explain their stuff really well or can't. But either way, I assume that you've talked to him. I know you are a good talker. yeah, I would talk to that whole carpool if you want Rockford information. I would watch those VODs of Mr. E and Jewel or any other of that matchup you can find. I would go into training mode and try Arcfire, and then generally, here wait, I'm going to text up. Go into training, figure out Arcfire. I could be more specific on this, but I think you are. It's been a while since you've done lab stuff, it seems like, but you know, you are someone who is very creative at finding stuff in the lab. Like, you were the one who showed me the fucking press shield and buffer jump to deal with Incineroar side B after, like, you're good at, like, finding these weird small things and figuring out how it works. I have faith in you to deal with that, but my recommendations of where to look would be, like, stomping it out with forward air, or see if you can, like, low profile it with down tilt or something as you approach. I don't know, stuff like that. Watt matchup. Mr. E versus Jewel. And you can see the problem that I find with being like, okay, I lost this matchup, let's see how it looks at the top level, is that, like, the top level player of the person you're fighting also plays the character, like, completely different. Because, like, you know, it's like DarkAdept is coming at this from... it's hard to say whether he is, like, okay... just in general, if he's someone who's going to, like, mostly just spam Arcfire and it works a lot of the time, or if it's just, like, he's figuring out that it's worked against you, so he's not doing anything deeper. But, like, if you go and watch, you know, 2 PR players from New York, there's, like, a lot more instant, like, they're playing way more patient against each other and they're camping way more and stuff like that, and it's like, okay, this doesn't directly one-to-one apply to what I'm doing at all. And so, you know... I feel like I'm explaining myself really shitty, and I can't tell if it's because I'm actually doing that or if it's because my, I don't know, ADHD's going fucking bonkers right now. But I'm trying to say that maybe you watch this set, and you're like, okay, how do I deal with Arcfire out of the corner? And then, like, maybe it turns out when you get to this level, Arcfire out of the corner is, like, a bad option, and so Jewel never goes for it. And you never have to see how Mr. E deals with it. But still, I think it's good to watch and just, like, see what you can pick up in general about that. Talk to... I'm just going to call them the DeKalb carpool. Especially... You call her Sally. Sally's what you shorten it to. Which is funny, because I would have shortened it to the Rose part, but you shorten the Celestic part, which I think is fun. And then, generally, projectiles. Because I think you've gotten projectile spam down, right? Like, you can deal with, like, Ben spamming neutral B as Terry, or stuff like that, or me spamming laser, and you know, you've gotten good at, like, jumping over or doing the walk and shield. I need to, like, slow down my brain, dude. Holy shit. You've gotten good at, like, that kind of thing, but there's still the general stuff where he is hitting you at super close range with a projectile out of nowhere, as if it just, like, treating it like a normal move that isn't even a projectile, like hitting you with hitting you with Arc Thunder, like it is just, like, one of his tilts. And so I think there's something to be considered there about how to deal with projectiles. You can hear my brain fucking shorting out. Oh my god. I'm sorry. I'm on fucking... My brain just is going... Oh my god. I'm breaking. Yeah. Dealing with projectiles that aren't just, like, a straightforward being spammed at you, how to approach it, and more, like, how to find the balance and how to deal with them, just, like, a thing that can come out of nowhere. Or maybe just, like, viewing it as a generally good move. But that is less of a Robin-specific problem and more just the next step in dealing with your projectile problem. But also I want to recognize the stuff you did really good. You were able to play sword play sword versus sword. You were able to get solid follow-ups sometimes. Sometimes it's not like a, like, derogatory way. I don't mean that, like, well, I mean, sometimes you did that. It's like, you know, there was a good amount of time where you were able to get, like, forward air into forward air or, like, whatever. And there were some times where it's like, it just missed. And it's like, whatever. So it's... I'm putting this sometimes not to take away from it, because I know if I tell you you got solid follow-ups, you go like, I mean barely, and I'm getting in front of that because you did get some really good ones, or not even like really good ones in terms of like they're a crazy combo, you're going wild, just like neutral, solid, fundamental follow-ups that you were you were getting, and I guarantee you aren't giving yourself any credit for. Dealing with projectile spam, like laser, or it's thunder, but I just keep calling it laser. Your ledge trapping was really nice, although you do need to learn how to deal with jump. Jump seems to be your big flaw right now on that. I'm going to argue that you stay composed more or less, because like we did point out that you started kind of throwing out a lot of panic options, but admittedly they weren't that many, and there were still plenty of like totally normal, good, well-adjusted options. You were able to adapt to stuff like arc fire or thunder off stage or ledge trapping, kinda better than you realize. And so like none of this stuff might seem like major crazy great things you did, but the point is that like you didn't get washed, you didn't just like show up and do absolutely nothing. There's a lot of things that you did really well that against some opponents I'm sure would do really well and make for a much closer game. It was just that this arc fire was so overpowering in that set. Not overpowered, just like the presence it had was constant, and it was incredibly oppressive towards you. And like you take arc fire out of Ramen's kit, or like you add the knowledge on how to deal with arc fire into yours, and like that set is not a 5 stock. It is like it is significantly closer than that, I guarantee. I feel like I do this every time I record a video for you of any kind, is where like the main thing happens and it's like a fine amount, and then I spend like 20 minutes rambling, just like saying things for the sake of talking, because I'm gonna end it now and then upload it and send it to you. I do apologize. I was gonna make this a more edited version, and then I was like, I think I'm going to not do that, because I'm going to stress myself out about how to make it the perfect way and then not do it at all. And I didn't want to not do it at all, because it's very important to me that you see all this stuff, like that you were doing a lot right. And then like this is fine. I think you could figure a lot of this out on your own, like what you're doing wrong, and be like, oh, I'm getting hit by arc fire a lot. But it's really, really important to me, not just like as your friend who wants you to feel better about yourself and have self-esteem, but just like generally as a player. I think it's so important to recognize that like you're not just like not improving, you're not, you know, playing like garbage, and you know there's nothing you're doing right. Like you're doing a lot right, and I don't know, it's very important. I think it's just as important as realizing what the other person is doing wrong, genuinely. And so I hope you can see that and understand, and I'm not just saying it to like boost your ego and make you feel better. But yeah, I'm going to actually end this now. I keep feeling like I have something to say, but I'm sure I will see you later this week, so like whatever. Bye-bye.